The next role we will go over is Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO for short. At UCSC, this role is titled Associate Vice Chancellor, Information Security. CISOs are the person responsible for security functions throughout a location and play a critical role in the overall management and protection of institutional information and IT resources. CISOs are responsible for the management and execution oversight of the Information Security Management Program, ISMP. Through collaborative relationships with the CRE and CIO, academic and administrative officials, using location government structures and compliance strategy. The duties of CISOs include establishing requirements and procedures to protect data and resources, approving procedures, methods, and requests involving the management of cybersecurity procedures, communicating about a variety of actions and topics in the process of managing cybersecurity at UC, leading the process of cybersecurity risk management for your location, assisting the location in the interpretation and application of this policy, reporting information security incidents to UCOP, appropriate location leadership, and the location CRE. For more information, check out UCOP's Quick Start Guide by role for CISOs. Cyber Risk Responsible Executives, or for short, CRE. The CRE is a senior executive manager who is appointed by and reports to the Chancellor. You are accessible for the location-wide adoption of the Information Security Management Program, ISMP, and an Information Security Risk Management Strategy. Ultimately, this person is the final arbitrator of cyber risk decisions for the location. CREs ensure the responsible parties understand and execute their responsibilities under this policy. You are responsible for ensuring the location-wide adoption of the ISMP covered in Section 5 Information Security Management Program and an Information Security Risk Management Strategy. You review the location's overall information security risk assessments and identify key risks affecting your location. You evaluate the location's level of cyber risk to make decisions about risk mitigation and risk acceptance. You also approve the location's policy exception process. You participate in system-wide initiatives related to information security and information security risk management. And finally, you evaluate information security risk and ensure appropriate funding for information security. Up next, we have workforce members. A person who supervises or manages other personnel or approves work or research on behalf of the university. The responsibilities of a workforce manager includes setting an example. Be sure to practice basic cyber hygiene, which includes UC's important security controls for everyone and all devices, which you can find on the UC Office of the President's website. Workforce managers also factor cybersecurity duties into job descriptions. You embed cybersecurity into your recruiting practices and hiring decisions. Update job descriptions periodically and make sure information security duties are clear. Be sure you are keeping up with training. Ensure your team completes training required for their positions. UC offers many excellent training resources. Everyone must complete a basic cybersecurity awareness training module. Make sure your technical staff have access to the resources it needs to complete security duties. You review access rights annually. Follow the principle of least access privilege to ensure people only have access to the minimum applications needed to do their jobs. Remember to remove access as needed when employees leave or change roles. You take a risk-based approach to decision-making. For example, when reviewing access rights, consider the risks exposing more people than absolutely necessary to the information contained in the application. Then act accordingly to ensure the rights level of protections are in place. Workforce managers separate duties when designing job duties so the requester, approver, and implementer are separated. This is a critical step in reducing the risk of malicious activity with collusion. Be sure to promptly address reported, suspected, or actual security violations. Any events involving institutional information classified at level 3 or above must be reported to the Chief Information Security Officer. And lastly, you know the location of institutional information and IT resources. Workforce managers are aware of the physical and virtual locations of institutional information and IT resources. Workforce managers should know about and approve of storage and work locations involving UC assets. For more information, check out UCOP's Quick Start Guide by role for workforce managers. Following workforce managers, we will take a look at workforce members: an employee, faculty, staff, volunteer, contractor, researcher, student worker, student supporting, performing research, medical center staff or personnel, clinician, student intern, student volunteer, or person working for UC in any capacity or through any other augmentation to UC staffing levels are all workforce members. Responsibilities of a workforce member include: 1. Following minimum security standards. 2. Be sure you are promptly reporting violations. If you suspect or witness a security event, report it to your workforce manager or chief information security officer, CISO, as soon as possible. 3. Make sure you complete all required security-related training for your unit and/or location. Make sure you have the training and resources you need to fulfill your security duties assigned to you. And as always, if you're not sure, ask. If you're unsure of the best way to protect institutional information or IT resources, ask your Unit Information Security Lead, Workforce Manager, or CISO. For more information, check out UCOP's Quick Start Guide by role for workforce members. Now let's take a look at the role of researchers. As a researcher, you are considered a workforce member and should follow those responsibilities. And since you will likely be working with information classified at protection level 3 or 4, there are additional steps to take to comply with IS-3. Now let's take a look at the role of researchers. As a researcher, you are considered a workforce member and should follow those responsibilities. And since you will likely be working with information classified at protection level 3 or 4, there are additional steps to take to comply with IS-3. 1. As previously mentioned, you must comply with all responsibilities of workforce members. Secondly, be sure to use a risk-based approach. Use your location's pre-approved risk treatment plan to develop risk assessments that match your research project. Implement needed controls. Develop and follow an information security plan that manages security risks over the course of the project. Incorporate safe information security practices into your research strategy. Identify the appropriate institutional information protection level for data research. Identify and meet confidentiality and data security obligations based on laws, regulations, policies, grants, contracts, and binding commitments, such as data use agreements and participation consent agreements relating to research data. Number 4, document your process. Gather and maintain evidence that demonstrates how security controls were implemented and kept current throughout the project. It is incredibly important that you invest appropriately. Be aware that bad things can happen to your data. Anything from outright theft to use of ransomware to encrypt it so you no longer have access. UC has lost research data that can't be replaced because of ransomware. And UC researchers are often targeted. If you need help or have questions, ask your Unit Information Security Lead, CISO, or CIO. And number 6, manage suppliers responsibly. Ensure that suppliers who store or process institutional information during the project follow UC policies for written contracts and comply with all applicable requirements. For more information, check out UCOP's Quick Start Guide by role for researchers. The last role we will be going over is that of suppliers. Suppliers are an external third-party entity that provides goods or services to UC. These goods and services can include consulting services, hardware, integration services, software, systems, software as a service, and cloud services. Non-UC entities that operate IT resources or handle institutional information are considered suppliers for the purpose of this policy. A vendor is a supplier for the purpose of this policy. If suppliers store or process institutional information or accesses IT resources classified at protection level 3 or 4, the following are required. Suppliers must follow UC policy for written contracts and comply with all applicable requirements. And information security must perform a vendor risk assessment to identify security-related issues, determine the level of risk associated with those issues, and make informed decisions about risk mitigation or acceptance. Now that we've reviewed the roles and responsibilities outlined in IS-3, let's check your knowledge. Please feel free to pause the video should you need more time to answer the questions. Our first question is, who is responsible for security? Is it A, Unit Information Security Leads, B, the Chief Information Security Officer, C, everyone is responsible for security, or D, workforce members. If you chose C, everyone is responsible for security, you are correct. While different roles have different requirements, ultimately everyone is responsible for the security of our institutional information. Our second and final knowledge check question is, what is the responsibility of a unit information security lead? Is it A, implementing security controls, B, responsible for management and execution oversight of the information security management program, C, reviewing and updating risk assessments, D, none of the above, or E, A, and C? If you chose E, A, and C, you are correct. The role of unit information security leads include both implementing security controls and reviewing and updating risk assessments. As a review, CISOs are responsible for management and execution oversight of the information security management program.